shout out to all the kids that never get on radio.
Have you ever heard a speech that was so on point, it didn't just capture a moment, but it actually predicted the future? We're about to dive into one of the biggest turning points in South African music history, all because of one speech that didn't just make a statement, it literally changed the entire game.
Yeah, this quote right here, it hits the nail on the head. When Riky Rick gave his infamous award speech back in 2016, a lot of people probably thought it was just a rant. But looking back at it now, it's pretty clear he was handing everyone a blueprint for a revolution that was about to kick off. So let's set the scene. It's 2016. We're at the Metro FM Awards. Riky Rick gets on stage to accept his award. You know how this usually goes, right? Thank you to my team, my family, and they're off. But Riky? Nope. He grabbed that mic and used his time to put the entire system on blast.
That was his opening line. Can you imagine? At an award show hosted by one of the biggest radio stations in the country. That's like going to a party and calling out the host. He was basically telling a room full of industry heavyweights that the most important voices weren't even in the building. A total power move.
Okay, so to really get why that was so wild, we need to talk about the system he was up against. Back in the 2010s, the South African music industry was basically a closed circle, and it was run by a handful of really powerful gatekeepers.
And gatekeeper isn't just some fancy term. For an artist, these big radio stations, they literally held the keys to the kingdom. They were the ones who decided who got to be famous, who got slept on, and who even got to have a career in the first place. For artists, it was pretty black and white. If you got your song on the radio, that meant you got label support, you got booked for shows, you got paid. But if radio said no, well, that was pretty much a dead end. No airplay meant no career. It was really that simple and that brutal.
And this control wasn't just about getting your song played. Oh no, it went way deeper. We're talking brand deals, concert bookings, even other award shows. They were all looking at what radio was doing. If you weren't on the airwaves, you were basically invisible to the whole industry. Radio wasn't just part of the game, it was the game.
But here's the thing. While this old system looked like it was set in stone, a new force was quietly building up steam in the background, and it was about to flip the whole board over. The internet, of course. We're talking about platforms like YouTube and SoundCloud, and then a little later, the real game changers like TikTok and Instagram. All of a sudden, artists had a direct line to their fans. They didn't have to ask anyone for permission to be heard anymore.
I mean, you gotta understand what a massive shift this was. The middleman, that gatekeeper, was suddenly not so important. All you needed was a fire track, an internet connection, and the hustle to get people to listen. The power was finally starting to shift back to the artists themselves.
And this is exactly what Riky Rick saw happening. He wasn't just making a wild guess. He was seeing that the audience was already online, finding and sharing music on their own. So when he said this, it wasn't just advice. It was a battle cry for a whole new generation. And what do you know? Just a few years later, his prophecy became reality. A whole new wave of artists came up who didn't just hear what he said, they lived by it. They were playing a totally different game. So this became the new formula for success. You build your hype online first, you drop snippets on Insta, you create a viral challenge on TikTok, and by the time your song is a massive internet hit, radio has absolutely no choice but to play it. They have to catch up to you. And right there, that is the core of this whole revolution. The power completely flipped. Radio went from being the one that sets the trends to the one that follows the trends. The fans, with their clicks and shares, they became the new gatekeepers. It was exactly what Riky said would happen.
But look, if we only talk about the music industry, we're kind of missing the bigger point. Ricky's speech wasn't just about a strategy to get a song played. It was a whole philosophy. It was a message about empowerment and independence.
Think about this number for a second. 15 seconds. In the world we live in now, a 15-second viral clip on TikTok can do more for a song's success than getting it played 100 times on the radio. That is the new reality that he saw coming. It's wild. So really, his message was for every single creative person out there. Stop waiting around for the system to give you a chance. Build your own thing, own your career, and take back control from anyone trying to limit you. And that's really what it all boils down to. This one powerful, timeless idea. It doesn't matter if you're an artist, an entrepreneur, or just someone with a dream. Don't wait for someone else to pick you. Choose yourself.
So here's the takeaway. Those kids that never get on the radio he shouted out, well, they're the stars now, and they're running the whole show. Ricky Rick's prophecy came true for music. But it makes you wonder, right? In a world that's always creating new gatekeepers, who is this message going to empower to break the rules next?
Shout out to all the kids that never get on radio, that can't get their song played on radio because they don't have enough money. Shout out to all the kids who put out music videos, that never get their music videos played on TV because they don't have the money.